This week's chapter was like the mother of all teases. Like seriously, the teasing is getting ridiculous now. It's getting out of hand. But before I get into any of that, we have an announcement.
One Piece Film Gold, the movie, the film, will premiere on July 23rd, which just so happens to be Sasuke's birthday on, well, it's actually next year, so it's 2016. And we don't know. We don't know what it's going to be about. Will it be about Gold D. Roger? Will it be about a legendary flying Pokemon? We just don't know.
However, all of the big blockbuster movies that are coming out next summer are already releasing their trailers. You probably noticed that. Captain America, Batman v Superman, all that stuff. Suicide Squad. I'm expecting a trailer for that soon. But anyway, I don't think One Piece should be any different. So I think we should be getting our first trailer for this movie this month. And I think it might come after the Foxy special. Listen, the teasing part of the chapter doesn't even start with the chapter itself. It starts with the color spread. You know, usually we would have gotten like a cover page. This week's cover page should have been the Baratier. We should have seen Zeph and the other cooks reacting to Sanji's Only Alive Wanted poster. Instead, we get like the old trio, that's what, I guess that's their nickname, the old trio, and Luffy looking like gangsters, like, you know, like part of the Japanese mafia. I thought the cover page looked badass, but it's like, we could have gotten some, like at least a tidbit of information, some hints in regards to what Sanji went through as a kid, or if Zeph knows anything about his past. If anybody, Zeph should know something, right? But instead we get Frankie with a dragon tattoo, Robin with a butterfly tattoo, Luffy with a monkey tattoo. I like Brook though because the smoke from his cigarette is coming out of his eyes. Eye sockets. He doesn't have eyes. The teasing continues because the whole conversation, the whole topic about Caesar's poison gas weapon gets brushed aside. But I actually did my research. I did my investigation, and if you go back to the chapter where Kaido falls from the sky, suicide, I believe it's 795. Read that chapter, or read the part of the chapter that's about Zoe, where we see Sanji and the rest. There is one small panel in that chapter where you see Caesar's poisonous gas from the weapon, like expanding or flowing through the forest, and it seems as if Sanji and Chopper are like arguing with Caesar because Caesar doesn't want to cooperate. And I think what they're wanting him to do is to use his ability to actually, you know, take away the poison from the minks that were exposed or inhaled the poisonous gas from the explosion that Jack used. Yeah, so when I reread that section, I was like, this makes so much more fucking sense now. Seriously, go reread it if you haven't. Inuarashi is a beast. We learned that in this chapter, and it was actually, I mentioned this in the previous chapter, the moment Luffy said, hey, you're pretty strong, it's like, yeah, he's a beast. And it's not only confirmed by like what he does in this chapter, he stops Jack's trunk with one arm, bro. But not only that, he knows Shanks. And again, it's the teasing roller coaster. Hey kid, your straw hat reminds me of Shanks. Let me conveniently fall asleep and not tell you jack shit about it. Were we about to get some serious Shanks backstory? That's my question. Because if you've noticed, the structure of this arc so far has been primarily, a big chunk of it has been told through flashbacks. So I would not mind a Shanks flashback by the end of this arc. You have a cat and a dog, 6 hours, night and day. They can't stand each other, so I'm pretty sure that Luffy, by the end of this arc, his job, he's gonna find like one way of bringing them together. And they're both at equal power because they said that all their matches end in a stalemate. Sicilian is falling asleep and we go into flashback mode and we basically get like the events of what happened when Jack was confronting the minks. So they show up, like the army, what is it called? The Musketeer Squad shows up first. We find out that Carrot and Wanda are part of that Musketeer Squad, and they're dressed as Musketeers. I was getting like mad Robin Hood, like Disney Robin Hood vibes with this. Anyway, so something must have happened to like Wanda's clothes. Maybe they just, you know, fucking disintegrated because of the poison or something. Because she ends up getting like Nami's clothes. We also get the main trio, the three Musketeers. One of them is a zebra. Obviously Sicilian, who's a lion, and then there's the one that looks like a fox. Like, he's my favorite design out of the three. I really can't wait to meet this guy. He looks like a beast too. And we keep getting examples of the minks using electricity. As for the people under Jack, there seems to be some serious Zoan-type devil fruit mutations, because the guys with horns can turn, like there's this one dude that can turn his arm into a fucking wolf. So I'm assuming that that applies to all of them, like all the ones with black horns. The one dude that does that, it looks like he has like some type of tattoo or mark on his arm that allows him to do that. Duke Inuarashi shows up and he doesn't want any violence. He actually mentions that he wants to avoid conflict because Zou is rich in history. So I think he wants to protect, like, well, everybody too, like the people, but also like the architecture and the buildings. So I wonder if that's like a problem that he had with the cat, because the cat, by the end of this chapter, you can tell he didn't give a shit about the houses or the buildings. He grabbed that fucking trunk and just slammed him into the ground, destroying the fucking the house that was there. So I wonder if that's kind of like one of the reasons why they don't get along. Here comes the big holy shit moment of the chapter. All right. Jack is worth, his bounty is 1 billion. Not 1 million, 1 bill. Like Kill Bill, billion. Alright? That is the highest bounty in the series, in the saga of One Piece as of right now. Maybe that's why the Yonko don't have any bounties, because if they did, it would just be like a fucking infinity symbol. There's a couple of things that come to mind. Number one, if Jack is worth 1 billion, what does that say about Inuarashi, who was able to stop his trunk with one arm, and the cat, who was able to slam him into the ground? I have a theory about that, so just hold off on that. Another thing is, like, how much are the other calamities worth? I mean, how much is Drake worth? Okay, because I don't, do we have a bounty for Drake post-time skip? I don't think so. And now the reason why I'm asking for Drake is because people have been speculating that there's a hierarchy within Kaido's army. So Doflamingo they're represented by card suits, or, you know, by playing cards. So Doflamingo was Joker, Jack is obviously Jack. Drake, his name is DS Drake, and he has the X on his name. The X could be like a Roman numeral 10, and DS means 10 in Spanish, so he can be the 10. So are we missing like a queen, and Kaido would be the king? A lot of people say, and I agree with this, that bounties are not power levels. One thing is to have a high bounty, another thing is to have a high power level in the One Piece world. So I agree with that. However, if you are the government and you are putting out a flyer, an advertisement, which is what a bounty poster is, for 1 billion, all right, if you're saying, if you bring this guy to us, we will give you 1 billion, you better make damn sure that the thing that you're advertising or the guy that you want to get is worth the price that you're paying. If you're not sure, then you're a fucking idiot. This goes into something that I want to speculate about that is related to something that happens at the end of the chapter when Master Nekomamushi shows up and slams Jack into the ground. So initially, at first glance, it would appear as if Jack is like, you know, he's taking a beating from the cat. By the way, I like how the cat is actually smoking a pipe. So he destroys the building with Jack because he's super powerful. That has already been established. And then if you look closely at those final panels, it looks like Jack goes back into his human form. We see his human hand, right? And we see him like smiling like a demented fucking psycho. So, what if Jack is an anomaly? What if Jack, unlike any other Zoan type devil fruit user, is actually stronger when he's in his humanoid or human form than when he is in his animal form? And that's why he's worth that much. And that's why he's always in mammoth form. That's why he arrived at Zou as a mammoth. Because that's his chill form. That's his, yeah, I'm just relaxing form. But when shit gets serious, oh shit, Jack is shrinking down. Everybody run for the hills. What the fuck is going to happen now? Size does not equal power. And I think it's a good idea as a writer if Oda can play with that expectation. That's just my idea. But the bottom line, guys, is that if he's really worth 1 billion, if that bounty is true, unless the government royally fucked up, then Jack is not a scrub. He's not a joke. That being said, there's no chapter next week. The Sanji teasing continues, man. Holy sh... Hopefully, I think December we only get 2 chapters then, because, yeah, it's next week, and then, like, we don't have one during the holidays, so I think the chapter that we get next will hopefully get some information about Sanji and Caesar. So fingers crossed to end the year with a bang, One Piece style. Thank you so much for watching. Like the review if you did, I appreciate that. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Catch you guys later.